I think we were just about done going through the rest of these menus up here. I'm just going to go through some more of these image menu items. This image will work better for that. Okay. So yesterday I showed you paste special, and we talked a little bit more about the rest of the edit menu. Under image now, under the image menu, the first one is mode. The only thing you need to know about mode is that there will be times when you need to switch an image you bring in, like if you get something from Google, sometimes it'll tell you you can't edit this because it's an indexed color image. If you run into that, simply go to image mode and change it from indexed color to RGB color, and you'll be fine. Always work in RGB color. So on the off chance that happens to you, just remember image mode, RGB color. The rest of it, don't worry about it. Adjustments. There are several things in adjustments that you should know about. You might not ever need them, but it's good to know that they're there. The rest of the menu you don't need to worry about. It's brightness, contrast, and levels, which are pretty much the same thing, and hue, saturation, and color balance. Brightness contrast pretty much does what it says. It will change the brightness or the darkness of an image. This will probably only be necessary to use on if you get a certain image from Google or something and it's really dark or it's too light, you can adjust brightness contrast and get it looking good. If you're not sure using the sliders, you can always hit the auto button and it will automatically, adjust it to settings that it thinks are appropriate, like that. And then if you like what it does, you can hit OK and move on. All right. Image adjustments levels is very similar to brightness contrast, except it gives you a little more control. It gives you this little display called a histogram that kind of gives you a graph of the lightest and darkest pixels in an image. If you take the white triangle and slide it over, it brings up the white balance. Obviously, if you do it too much, it gets washed out, and you don't want it to look like that. The dark or black triangle does the opposite, controls the darker side of the pixels. This gray one in the middle kind of controls the mid-range, mid-tones. Okay. Again, this also has an auto feature. If you just open it up and hit auto, it will automatically adjust to something that it thinks looks good. All right, cancel out of that. Curves and exposure, don't worry about. Vibrance simply refers to the intensity, the richness of the color. If you take down the vibrance, the color kind of gets faded, almost like it's sun faded. If you take it higher, it gets richer and almost super bright. Saturation also kind of controls that. It's more about the color itself and the brightness of the color. If you oversaturate it, then the colors are going to be like super condensed, super concentrated color. And if you take it all the way to the left, it's basically going to become like a grayscale kind of an image. All the color information's gone from it. So you're just seeing the values. All right. That's pretty much it. Hue saturation is just there to kind of, you can change the basic, you kind of colorize things to be like in a blue range, green range. I don't know why you would really need this, but that's kind of what it does. This is really more for like photograph stuff. Photoshop in memes, yeah. Photoshop is mostly a photo editing tool. It's used a lot for design, but professional photographers use this. So some of these tools are better suited to photography. But if you need to adjust some of the photos that you find and want to use, these could be useful. Saturation, again, kind of does the same thing that the last one did. And lightness is just light and dark. Okay. Color balance is the last one you really need to know. Like, let's say you've taken a photograph and you're outside and you're in the shade and everything kind of has a blue tinge to it. You would want to slide things away from the blue and towards the warmer colors, and that would get rid of the blue tinge. Just like if you slide away from the warmer colors, the image will get cooler. If you see here, Spider-Man, because I'm going towards the blues and purples, the blues and purples are kind of getting accentuated, so everything kind of has this violet cast to it. So once things are kind of in the center, that's more the normal kind of a range it should be in. All right, and then we've already gone over image size and what that does. Image size refers to the resolution and dimensions of an image. The higher the resolution, the crisper the picture. So try to look for images that are higher res when you're looking for them. This is 72 dpi, which is kind of low on the low side. So I wouldn't want to display anything that low, like really large on my box. Keep lower res stuff kind of small on your box and it'll look okay. You don't want anything looking really chunky and low res on your boxes. All right. Cancel out of that. Canvas size just refers to the actual dimensions of the file itself, and it will add more room. Like if I change this from 6.9 by 5 to 8 by 6, it will keep the original image, but it'll add extra room. See if I zoom out of this now. See how it added that extra border around? So it made my canvas actually bigger. All right. Duplicate just makes a copy of the image, and image rotation just turns it, like if I do 90 degrees clockwise, it makes it 90 degrees clockwise. We've already been over the layer menu. Remember, all of this information that's up here is also available on this menu down here. So this is where you create a new layer. You can duplicate layers, like your background layer, delete a layer, merge layers. You can, if you have lots of layers and you want to merge some of them together, you can do that. You can also do it based on if you have the layer turned on and visible or not. This is where you also flatten your image. If you flatten it, that means it collapses everything into one layer, which you don't want to do unless you're totally finished. All right, type. We went through over the type tool yesterday. You kind of know the gist of that. If you don't remember, go back and watch that video. It kind of goes over just the basics. Select, we've done the select menu. Remember, if you want to do that thing that I showed you where you're doing refine edge, just remember that even though it's called refine edge on my version of Photoshop, on yours is going to be called select and mask, I believe. So if you go select refine edge on mine, it's going to be select and mask on yours. So just remember that. Filter is the one I kind of want to go over with you for a minute. A filter is basically just kind of like a special effect, and it can either be an artistic kind of effect where you're just making things look trippy and weird, or it can be an effect where you're actually trying to enhance the photo, like sharpen it, despeckle it, that sort of a thing. If you go to filter, then go to filter gallery, you'll see a whole list of things pop up. Artistic, brushstrokes, distort, sketch, and stylize and texture. If I go to sketch and go to something like halftone pattern, you can see, let me zoom in closer on this here. All right, you'll see the filter itself, and then over on the right-hand column, you'll see these sliders that will control the amount of detail in the image. The reason why it's looking like purple and black is because those are my foreground and background colors that I have selected. You can also do a circle kind of effect. Let me zoom out a little bit. Or the traditional dot pattern. Make the size go smaller. Or, you know, there's different ones, and I don't have time to go through and do every single filter, but you just would need to go in and play around and experiment a little bit. You don't have to use filters, but you might come across something that looks really cool. My advice, though, if you do use filters, please use them sparingly because they can be really overwhelming on a design. And if you use too many, it'll just look bad. It'll just look like you got sleep deprived and try to use filters and everything gets all messed up. Like, I don't know what possible use you would have for something like this on your box, but you know, it's there. Okay. Glowing edges is what I had on before. There's also distortion filters that make things look like, you know, they're an artistic filters that look like they're made of pen or brush strokes. You just have to play around with it. Cutout is a nice one. You could do some cool kind of designy things with like abstracting something and putting it in the background of a layer and putting other stuff on top of it. I don't know. You know, like Cubist Spider-Man. I don't know. All right, so that's the kind of artistic filter. The other kind of filter that you can use are things like sharpen. I use unsharp mask a lot, and that basically takes a blurry image and can make it look a little sharper. So if you have something kind of low res and chunky, like from far away that looks pretty good, but if I zoom in too close, you can see it's a pretty low res image. Whenever I use unsharp mask, I only change the amount, and I never really go above 50 or 60, and I change the radius. I don't really do much with threshold. So if you use it, just use these two, and that will make a blurry image look a little sharper if you need it. All right, you can kind of see the before and after. Just punches up the contrast a little bit, which sometimes is useful. Also, things like noise and despeckle are good. Despeckle is a good one to kind of get rid of some pixels in your image. Like this one especially could use a good despeckling. If I zoom in here, you see, I don't know if you can see all these little artifacts and stuff on there. Yeah, if I go in to filter and go to noise and try to despeckle that or do reduce noise, I can zoom in on this. You can really see the compression there. It's not doing it as much as I'd like. Anyway. So those are just the different kinds of filters that you can do. But again, it's just going to require some experimentation. Again, I would just ask that you use it sparingly. The 3D menu, you don't need to worry about that at all. Just ignore it. View, again, this is where you go, like if you want to turn off or turn on your grids or your rulers or guides or anything. But this is also where you go if, like, accidentally you click a button and one of your menus goes away or something. You can, sorry, not here. You would go to Window and go to Workspace and go to like Reset Essentials or something like that. And that will bring all of your stuff back to where it was. The Window, again, is where you go to turn on like your layers menu and stuff like that. And that's pretty much it for the top menus here. The only other thing that I would say you should remember is that down here in the Layers tab, just remember the Layer Style function, which you're going to need a lot of. That's where you double click on the layer and bring up Layer Style, and you can add outlines and glows and drop shadows and bevels and embosses and all that, those kind of cool effects to your text and to shapes. That'll really make things pop on your box and look good. And also don't forget that you can take layers and change the opacity on them. Like, for example, like if I had this on my box, that is really loud. Like if I put a lot of text or anything on top of this, it's going to probably not be very readable. So I could go up here to the opacity of the layer and change it from 100 down, go really low with it and put other stuff on top of it. Not that I would, because that looks really ugly, but I'm just saying that layer opacity is something that you can take advantage of. Also, where it says normal, the blending of the layers, you can experiment and play with darken, multiply, overlay, soft light. That doesn't really do anything. Soft light doesn't do anything. All right. So that's basically it in a nutshell for layers and all that other stuff. Obviously, there's a lot more Photoshop that we could do, but for this assignment, I think those are just the bare bones of what you need to get through it. I'm going to switch gears now and talk about past boxes. I'm going to show you some good ones and I'm going to show you some bad ones and try to explain why. So hopefully this will help you. All right, again, these are student projects. These are not actual Happy Meal boxes. All right, these are from years past. All right. This first one is what I consider A work. This is a really good box because, number one, she really paid attention to elements and principles of design, right? She is using a unified color theme. She's taking colors that she's sampling from her images and repeating colors. So these pinks and blues and greens she is repeating throughout all sides of her box, and that's helping to unify things. All right. Also, she's repeating shapes, these round shapes of the berries and the logos and these ovals complement each other well. And she's kind of putting them in the corners, and that's helping to kind of, whether she intended to or not, create a kind of a pattern, a repetition. She is not just taking a single image and sticking it on the box and then leaving it alone. She is actually taking individual elements and arranging them, scaling them, and overlapping them in interesting ways. All right, that's what designers do. She's not just taking a single image that someone else did and then just leaving it. All right. So there's lots of great activities. All four sides of the box have activities on them and content. She's really communicating what the theme is about. If I was a little kid and I didn't know anything about this character and had never heard of it, this box would help me kind of figure out, what the theme is. All right, so this is good work. This is nice work. Next one. All right, this one is okay, but I have a few issues with it. First and foremost, this side of the box here, there's nothing about this that's designed, like an original design. She basically just took the show poster and put it on the box. Someone else designed that. Yeah, it looks really good, but you shouldn't use someone else's work as the focal point. If she had done something else to kind of push that back, put other things on top of it, maybe put some text inside the shape of the witch here, this black, and did a kind of yin-yang thing and put black text in the white and white text in the black and put some activities on there, then she would be what I would consider she'd be doing more of her own kind of design. But as it is, she just kind of put that on there. There's no content on this. There's nothing really explaining what the story is, which I don't like. Again, you have to assume that someone has never seen this before. But, there are good parts of this too. I like some of these touches she did here, where she's got the flying monkey kind of coming out from behind the picture. I like some of the activities she's put on here. I just feel like it's good, but it's not great. You know what I mean? There's just things that could be better. I like the little arch thing that she put up here on the handle. That's kind of cool. I really hate this logo being squished here like this. It's a bad place for it. She should have put it bigger and maybe put it on her hat or did something else. I feel like it's not clear enough like what the restaurant is. So there you go. Take that for what it's worth. Avatar. This is okay, but there's just like this side of the box, there's no imagery on it at all. Like I feel like if I was a kid, I would be ignoring this so fast because there's nothing there to hold my attention. The colors are just kind of flat. These two sides are a little more promising, but again, they're just kind of, I don't know, a lot of repetition. I like the red and green, playing off the red and green complementary colors. It just feels kind of sparse. Like I'd like to see more layering of elements. I'd like to see more texture being used. Maybe he could have used a couple of filters to put some halftone or some other kind of linear texture, visual texture on here. Like having the same logo on both sides. I mean, I guess it's okay, but you're just kind of wasting space. You could be doing other stuff with this. Having other images telling more of the story of the world. But it's okay. I really dislike these Happy Meal symbols on the handles. I feel like it's really squishing them and making them feel too compressed. I think they should have been bigger and put somewhere on the sides and the corners or something. So there you go. This one I don't think is very well executed. The problem with this one is that there's all these different art styles clashing with each other. Like you've got the animated art style, which is good, and then you're putting it on this flat kind of gradient with these clip art clouds that look like a 5-year-old did them, and this weird kind of flattened, collage looking palm tree and water. And I just feel like it's a mishmash of all these different art styles, and the placement's kind of wonky on it. I really hate it when people just put like a big black and white picture on the side of the box, and that's not really thinking about design very much. So this is probably like a low B or a high C if I'm feeling charitable. So does that make sense? Can you kind of see the difference like between this box and this box? Like why one is better designed than the other? Okay, don't need that. Let's look at a few more here. Scott Pilgrim. This one's okay. Really low res texture being used in the background, so it's really choppy. I like the logo placement here. I just feel like that there could be better art. I don't know why he keeps choosing these weird perspective angles for the sides of the box. I guess it's because it's triangular shaped, but whatever. There's not really enough about this to really explain the concept of Scott Pilgrim. Like there's so many other things, like there aren't any activities really on these sides of the box. It's just kind of like a character profile. Like there's a way to give that information but still have activities on there. So this isn't what I would consider a great design. This is probably, again, a low B. All right, again, wow. Bad, bad, bad. Bad. Like, I just don't understand. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like kind of like a bootleg version of Hello Kitty or something. Oh, up there. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. I don't know what that is. Or like there's hair growing on the side of it. I don't know. But like, okay, so first of all, you have this giant golden arches, and there's nothing else there. Like, I don't know if those are ice cubes or toasters, and then there's a pig, and I don't understand what any of this has to do with anything. This, again, this is a C if I'm being nice. If I'm being nice. And if I'm not being nice, it's a D. Right? There's just flat color. I mean, guys, seriously, this is like 20 or 30 minutes worth of work total. There's like no thought in terms of design, things just randomly placed, images that don't relate to one another at all, stylistically or thematically. Like, if I was a kid and I was looking at this box, I don't know what this is about. This doesn't tell me anything about Hello Kitty as a character. It's like, okay, here she's an angel. Did she die? I don't know. There's birds in a nest. I just don't understand it. And then a kitty baby bear. What does that mean? I don't know. None of these have activities on them. There's just like this maze that she grabbed off of Google and stuck it on there. This is like a C minus or a D. All right, so this is bad. This is an example of do not do this. This is I mean, again, this is an example of, remember what I said not to do, grabbing an image and just sticking it on there. I mean, yes, he was so proud of this. I remember he found a McDonald's sign, and then he put some filters on it to make it look like it was made out of stone, and he just thought he was the greatest. He thought he was a genius when he came up with that. But the rest of it is just, I mean, I don't know, like, what is this? Why is there a sky with a maze? What is it? I don't, And then I just don't, you know, there's so many things that are not thought through on this. Yeah, it's unreadable. It doesn't tell me anything about who the Flintstones are or what they are. But to him, just because he came up with that McDonald's thing with the stone, it should have been an A, and he was very crushed when it wasn't an A. All right, again, cool theme. I love The Incredibles, but it's just random characters. There's no activities on here. Yeah, it's just all copy paste. Over here, the logo isn't even, it's like cropped off. You can tell it was part of the original image. No activities, nothing. There's like a little lame maze. I mean, this is again like C or D work. Yeah, and it's like he didn't know what to put on things. So instead of typing about the characters, I'm gonna duplicate my layer a bunch of times and scale it so that it's all stretched and weird. And yeah, need to find some better ones here. Is this the last one? Yeah, and again, why would you put that on the bottom of the box where no one will see it? It doesn't. All right. So that's I had some more. Let's see if I can find some more. Here's some more in here. Okay. All right, How to Train Your Dragon. All right, this one is just okay. I don't like just the flat color back here. I feel like it could use more texture or something. I think if you are making a maze, if you are giving a little kid a maze, you are the most evil person. Not only is this maze really hard, look at how small. Yeah, there's no entrance to. Oh, there it is, or maybe there's either. Yeah, so it's like you either start here and go in, or start here and go out. But look at how small it is on the box too. Like you can't even see it hardly. Yeah, save the Vikings. All right, if you say so. All right, so yeah, just there's some decent content here. Although again, it's doing the color of the drag, the color of the black and white thing, which drives me nuts. But just the placement is just really bad. Like there's no sense of feng shui on this at all. All right, Mickey Mouse and Friends, it's okay, but you know, at least there's some sense of color going on here. Some of these colors are relating. The yellows and reds go together well or the oranges and reds go together well. But you know, this is probably like B work. I'd give this like a B plus. Again, more Hello Kitty that, you know, just really like, why did you place these things? You stretch this across all four sides, so it's all distorted. Giant McDonald's logo, Happy Meal logo. They didn't even bother to like erase the corners. So, Now, look, on some of these, I admit, yes, this is better. They actually tried. People just had this thing for Hello Kitty that year for some reason. This is a little better. This is showing a little more sense of using like pattern and shape and color to help unify things a little better. It doesn't feel quite so disparate. Now, I admit on a lot of these people were, you know, trying their best. They were just learning Photoshop. I sympathize with that, but some of these are just straight up, they were just being lazy. All right, this is Aliturtle. He came up with this thing called Aliturtle that's like an alligator and a turtle. I don't know. So he's just finding a bunch of clip art of alligators and turtles. Don't know. I don't know what to say. And then there is Flames with a maze, and this looks like something from Gamera, or I don't know. All right, again, Superman. What a cool theme. And then this, like, why? No, it's Superman. Oh, down here is Captain Marvel, yes. But like, just no, the design is just not thought through. All these different separate things, nothing is relating to one another. I guess that's supposed to be kryptonite in there. I don't know, but who can tell? Right? And then this side that just says, in this really lousy font, Superman can fly high in the sky. Yeah, okay, but he's not flying, he's standing. And there's no activity there. There's no activity here. Yeah, so this is just differences. His cape, his hair, his belt. He didn't even delete the white space out of from by his arm there. Yeah, or something. There. Yeah, I mean, I can. No, look. Yeah, he got rid of this little yellow part. And it's just very blurry. Like, he put this little red thing on his cape. Yeah, he did. So, yeah, like, guys, I'm not here to just, like, make fun of old projects. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to show you that there's good design and bad design. More Hello Kitty. I don't know. So Inspector, you know, there's a bunch of different ones. This is an original one, Benny the Bunny. It's kind of cute. It's okay. All right. Carlos the Jumping Bean. And then instead of making it a Mexican restaurant, he went with McDonald's, which I don't like. Why wouldn't you make it Taco Bell or something? That would seem to make more sense. But I you know, what do I know? But again, no activities here. No activities here. So the content needs work. Of course. Do whatever you want. Yeah, do whatever you want. Make up a restaurant for all I care. This one's kind of cute, but again, it's too much. See, again, don't just take this like image, like she just found this image and just stuck it on there. There's no design going on. If she had found these individually and put them together and found a background and came up with the composition, that would be different. But it's, again, it's just copying and pasting. That's not design. So, anyway, I think I've made my point. I don't think we need to see any more of these. All right. There might be. All right, here's something called Paco the Taco, but it's not a taco. I don't know why he's called the taco when he looks like a tomato or something. I don't know. All right, again, original. This is kind of cool just because it's original art. You know, they actually tried to do their own thing. All right, again, more Hello Kitty that's just really badly designed. All right. So anyway, that's that. Now, for Monday, This one's kind of cool. It's a recycling one. This one's got some good stuff on it. This one's actually got a lot of content going on. You know, activities on all four sides. Some actually interesting overlapping in design happening. It's a little cluttered, but it's you can tell they had more ideas than they had room, whereas the other ones were just like they couldn't come up with anything, so they're all just all blank. There were lots of SpongeBob that yeah, this is bad. Who is this? Gee, I don't know. Like, I think they were just trying to be ironic there. I don't know. They just use the warp thing, yeah. Yeah, golf. He was just doing golf as a theme. Yeah. Goldfish. Hurricanes. Blue's Clues. Alice in Wonderland. Phineas and Ferb. Super Monkey. And there's a big gorilla. Yeah, I was like, please don't have the start and end beyond his mouth on the other end. Please don't do that. Princess, this is a made-up one that she did. Yes. I'm sorry? Not that I know of. No, I'm sorry. I'll take a look in a minute. The Farm. But what's funny about this is that this is an example of font being used badly. Like, why would you have something about a farm and then make the letters look like they're scary? Like, the farm. Yeah, and the word search is on the bottom. There's nothing here. There's nothing here, but they put the word search on the bottom. I don't get it. If we have time. Nemo, Family Guy. Yes. It can. All right. Nope, don't want to do that. Wrong button.